Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and good morning to our beloved friend and madam. Today we would like to present about chapter 7, which is inventory management. We would like to start with the introduction. So what is inventory management? Inventory management is the process of ordering, storing and using a company's inventory. Proper inventory management is as important as the management of other assets in the firm's working capital. Financial manager does not have a direct control over inventory investment decision unlike other current assets, but tends to have indirect input. Uh, Financial manager also should take a considerate effort to monitor the progress and to influence the firm inventory management. So what is in the inventories? The inventories consist raw materials, work in progress and finished goods. We need to have a proper management of this inventory as they create a link between purchasing, production, marketing and represent a significant investment for most firms. Uh, Types and level of inventory investment will largely related to the firm's operation. For example, a wholesaler will only carry finished goods purchased for resale, and on the other hand, a firm that involved in the production process will carry all types of the inventories mentioned. Similarly to the size of investment varies for the automotive dealer and hotel industry, inventories make up more than 50% and less than 2% of the total asset respectively.
Assalamualaikum and hi. I will be the next presenter on topic of types of inventories and the mathematical approach. So, keeping inventories ensures that the purchasing, production and marketing operation are all independent of one another. As a result, any delays or issues in any of the process will not prevent the company from producing goods and services. Inventories can be divided into three categories. The first one is raw materials. It consists of basic raw materials purchased from vendors for use in the firm's manufacturing process, usually on credit or account payables. The raw materials that a corporation employs to develop and finish items are known as raw materials. When the product is finished, the raw elements such as the oil needed to make shampoo are usually indistinguishable from their previous state. The second one is work in process. The work in process comprises of partially produced goods that require extra work before they can be sold to customers as finished good. The quantity of the working process inventory investment is determined by the length of the production process. A complex and lengthy process necessitates as a larger investment. Items in production such as raw materials or components, labor, overhead, and even packing materials are referred to as working in process inventory. The third one is finished good. The term finished good refers to things that have been completed in the manufacturing process but have not yet been marketed. Finished goods are items that are ready to sell. Actually, there are still other 10 types, which are components, maintenance, repair and operation, good, packaging and packaging material, safety stock and anticipation stock, decoupling inventory, cycle inventory, service inventory, transit inventory, theoretical inventory, and excess inventory. But for this subject, we will not go through on detail. I will just mention as general only. Investment in inventory, like any other financial choice, entails risk return considerations. As a result, business with low inventory levels may encounter stock out and production delays, resulting in lost sales. This technique will lower investment and inventory maintenance expenses, resulting in increased profitability. Given the increased risk, this higher compensation is acceptable. Firms that keep huge stocks, on the other hand, can guarantee that there will be no production downtime or stock cuts because they will be able to satisfy demand and ship orders quickly if necessary. Large inventory investment, on the other hand, will put a financial strain on the company because they come with significant carrying costs in the form of cost of capital, opportunity costs, storage and insurance fees, and the danger of obsolescence. As a result, the firm's inventory management goals are two. The first one is to maximize inventory turnover. That is, inventory investment levels should be kept to a minimum. This will free up money that have been stranded in less productive inventory, allowing them to be invested in more successful ventures, so increasing the firm's profitability. The next one is to carry sufficient inventories. It's critical to keep enough inventory on hand to meet production and sales expectation. This will improve the production process by allowing for better product selection and faster delivery. To reconcile both of these opposing aims, the firm must establish the ideal level of inventories, keeping based on the above objectives. Those two above that I mentioned before. Proper inventory management will balance both of these requirements, resulting in increased value for stockholders. Inventory management is also crucial because of the close ties it has with accounts receivable. That is, when inventories are sold, accounts receivable are created, and when they are paid, accounts receivable are converted to cash. As a result, cash management, accounts receivable management, and inventory management are all intertwined. When making working capital decisions, their interaction should be carefully considered.
Economic Order Quantity Model (EOQ). EOQ is the most prevailing method in controlling inventory together with reorder points and safety stock. EOQ model is a tool to determine the optimal order quantity that results in the lowest total inventory cost. This model is more applicable for firms with high inventory value because certain costs associated with holding low-cost items is difficult to assess. EOQ models assume inventory usage or demand is constant and non over time. Inventory replenishment is instantaneous. The ordering cost per order remains constant over time. Next is from the figure 7.1. The figure shows inventory usage follows the sawtooth pattern. Assume that SMA products order 300 units and use them at the constant rate of 10 units per day. On the 30th day, equal to 300 divided by 10 when the stock is depleted to 0, the new order of 300 units will be received instantaneously. Thus, there is a perfect certainty of usage and delivery. Figure 7.2. The basic inventory usage must be modified to include reorder point, ROP, and safety stock. This will provide the allowance for uncertainty in demand and delivery of inventory. Figure 7.2 illustrates these modifications with the assumptions of safety stock level at 100 units and delivery or lead times of 10 days. It shows that the firm has a reorder point of 200 and average inventory of 250 units. Reorder point act as an indicator of when the firm should place an order for the new shipments. That is order must be placed whenever inventory level reach 200 units. Next, the basic cost consists order cost, carrying cost, and total inventory cost. So what is order cost? The order costs are associated with fixed clerical costs of placing and receiving and ordering, such as cost of processing, telephoning, typing, mailing, and receiving orders. It is normally stated state as ringgit per order, and its periodic total varies inversely with order quantity. That is higher order quantity will be reduce the number of orders per period, and thus the total order cost per period will decline. The next is carrying costs. CC. The carrying costs are associated with the cost of carrying each unit of inventory in the firm's stock per period. The higher order quantity will result in higher total carrying costs for the given period. Last, total inventory cost, TIC. The total inventory costs are defined as the sum of total order costs, TOC, and the total carrying costs. The total inventory costs are important in EOQ model, as its objective is to determine the optimal inventory order quantity that minimizes. If order quantity below or above the optimal order quantity, it will result in the total inventory cost not being at a minimum. To determine the optimal order quantity, under EOQ model, two approaches can be used, which are graphical or mathematical. For the total ordering cost, the formula is equal TOC equals to order cost per order number of order per period. So O times D divided by Q. So D is usage demand or sales in unit per period or year. O is order cost in ringgits per order. Q order quantity in units. Next is total carrying cost TCC. TCC equals to carrying cost per unit average time average inventory. C C times Q divided by 2 plus SS, which is C carrying cost per unit in ringgits per period or year. Q order quantity in units. SS safety stock. Lastly is total inventory cost TIC. TIC is equal to TOC plus TCC.
Now we're moving on to a graphical approach. Based on the basic cost equations presented, a graph to determine the optimal order quantity can be developed. To illustrate, assume that SMA Products expects to sell 3,600 units of inventory for the coming year. It is estimated that the cost of carrying each unit of inventory per year is 2 ringgit, and SMA will incur 25 ringgit each time an order is placed. The calculated costs associated with ordering and carrying the inventories for the upcoming period are presented in table below. Based on order quantity of 50 ringgit, 150 ringgit, 300, 450 ringgit, and 600 units per order. Now we're looking at the table. From the information above, we know that our C is 2 ringgit, our O is 25 ringgit, and our D is 3,600 unit. So the total ordering cost formula is O times D per Q, and the total ordering cost for 50 unit is 1,800 ringgit. The total ordering cost for 150 units is 600 ringgit. The total ordering cost for 300 units is 300 ringgit. The total ordering cost for 450 units is 200 ringgit. And total ordering cost for 600 units is 150 ringgit. We're moving on to total carrying cost, which is the total carrying cost formula is C times Q per 2. The total carrying cost for 50 unit is 50 ringgit. The total carrying cost for 150 units is 150 ringgit. The total carrying cost for 300 unit is 300 ringgit. The total carrying cost for 450 units is 450 ringgit. And the total carrying cost for 600 units is 600 ringgit. Now we're looking at total inventory cost, which is the total inventory cost formula is total ordering cost plus total carrying cost. The total inventory cost for 50 unit is 1,850 ringgit. The total inventory cost for 150 unit is 750 ringgit. The total inventory cost for 300 unit is 600 ringgit. The total inventory cost for 450 unit is 650 ringgit. And total total inventory cost for 600 units is 750 ringgit. By using the above data, the optimal order quantity or EOQ can be determined graphically as presented in figure above. It shows that the nature of each of the costs functions relative to order quantity and total cost. From the graph, the EOQ level is at 300 units. That is if SMA orders in quantitative of 300 units. It will minimize its total cost to 600 ringgit, which is from 2 ringgit times 300 per 2 plus 25 ringgit times 3,600 per 300.
Okay, for the mathematical approach, the order amount that minimizes total inventory expenses is known as the economic order quantity, or for the short form is EOQ. EOQ also is Q. So if in the exam, if you want to just write Q, is also approved. Thus, by setting the total ordering cost function equal to the total carrying cost function, EOQ can be solved analytically or mathematically. The following formula is obtained by manipulating these two equations, which is EOQ equal to square root of 2 multiplied with D multiplied with O and divided by C. Thus, substituting SMA's financial table, where you can refer in table 1 EOQ, equals to EOQ equal to square root 2 DO, which is D are 3,600 and O is 25, and then divided by C, you will get the 100 units. This is the example of how you want to put the value in the formula. So for TIC, just look at the table, you will get the value, or there will be detailed explanation of the formula on the below, which is the formula is TIC equal to TOC plus TCC equal to 600 ringgit Malaysia. Using either a graphical or analytical mathematical technique, the preceding results show no variance in the EOQ level. The latter method, on the other hand, is faster because it eliminates the need for complex calculation and graphing. The safety stock needs were established at 100 units, and where you can refer in figure 7.2 to approximate 10 days of normal usage at a rate of 10 units per day. In actuality, the safety stock level should be set based on the predictability of usage rate and delivery rate, as well as the cost of keeping inventory in stock versus the cost of missed sale due to possible stock out. Let's use the following example to demonstrate the reorder point and safety stock concept. SS refer to safety stocks in unit. For the L lead time in days, this is the formula where lead time you must use in days, but there is certain cases when you can use weekly or monthly. I will mention below later. For the LF, where is lead time in days to delivery as a fraction of the period. DD is the daily usage of demand or sales, where D without DD is annual usage. The reorder point is calculated by multiplying the lead time in days by the daily usage. This is done to ensure that inventories arrive on time and that safety stock is not impacted. Using the financial data from SMA, reorder point is equals to ROP equal to lead times in day, which is L multiply with daily usage rates. And you must plus with safety stock, where the short form is SS, and you will get 200 units. Another factor to consider while ordering inventory is the frequency of orders, which is FO, which is the duration between orders in days. The frequency of orders is defined as the number of times an order is placed. This is the formula, which is FO equal to 360, which is in a year is 360 days, divided by number of orders per period, and you will get 30 days. When the inventory level hits 200 units, a fresh order must be completed and delivered to the supplier every 30 days. According to SMA inventory control, the cargo will arrive on day 30. When the inventory level hits 100 units, this is the safety stock, assuming that the supply is on time. The above mentioned safety stock is determined randomly based on a 10-day consumption allowance. However, as a rule of thumb, the calculation that gives a firm and approximate suitable level of safety stock to hold is SS equal to 1.85 multiplied with square root FF multiplied with D. You will get 90 units. According to the estimates above, SMA should have 90 units of safety stock on hand. This will maximize the cost function and safety requirements in the face of demand and delivery uncertainty. Note that the above FS formula is only to be utilized if the firm mandates the holding of safety stock and its value are not stated in units, consumption rate, or percentage of demand. The lead time and consumption rate in all of the preceding cases are expressed in days, and there are 360 days in a year. Other time periods, such as weekly and monthly, can be utilized instead. This is what I referred before, where in the formula mentioned you need to use lead time in a day. But there are some cases where you can use weekly and monthly for the lead time. This is the example. As a result, the periods must be changed to 50 weeks and 12 months per year. This adjustment is necessary in order to synchronize the time periods involved. Consider the following examples to better understand the EOQ paradigm. The Maersk Corporation use is 4,000 units each year. The cost of placing an order is 100 ringgit and the shipment takes 1 week to arrive. The company carrying cost per unit is 80 cents per 3 months. Thus, for SS calculation, we need the value of LF and D. In the formula, we need to take lead time in days, but for the case, as mentioned in the statement above, period of weekly and monthly also can be used. So, the value of LF equal to 1 week divided by 50 weeks equal to 0.02. Because the statement already mentioned, if you want to use in weeks, need to take the value of 50 weeks. For D is the annual usage, so the value is 4,000 units and no need to be divided with any weeks or months because it is the annual value. So we get the value of SS equal to 17 units. For ROP calculation, we need the value of L, DDD, and SS. L equal to lead time, so we take 1 as the value of time in week, and DD is daily usage, not annual usage, so we need to find the value for weekly. Because in this case, we use weekly, not daily, so 4000 divided by 50 weeks, we got the value 80 units per week, and SS equal to 17, so we get the value of ROP equal to 97 units. EOQ or Q equal to square root of 2DO divided by C. 0 refer to ordering cost equal to 100 ringgit. C is cost per unit in a year. In the statement stated 80 cents is cost per unit per 3 months, means that we need to multiply with 4 months to find the value cost per unit in a year. So we get C equal to 3.2 ringgit Malaysia for a year. Then we get the Q equal to 500 units. For TOC, D need to divide by Q and multiply with O, and we get 800 ringgit Malaysia. For TCC, we need to complete in the bracket first, so Q divided by 2 and plus VS, and then multiply with C, then we get 55 ringgit and 40 cents. For TIC, we plus the value of TOC and TCC, and we get 1,654 ringgit and 40 cents. When the data for Maersk Corporation is substituted, the safety stock and order point requirements are 17 and 80 units, respectively. Total inventory costs for inventory management are 1,654.40 cents, which includes the cost of carrying the required safety stock. The total inventory expenses will rise or fall depending on whether Maersk Corporation orders more or fewer than 500 units at a time. Ordering less than the EOQ value lowers carrying cost due to lower average inventory, but raise ordering cost since more frequent orders are necessary and vice versa. Okay, so we continue with the study question discussion. Thank you.